Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Brody. I'm the owner of sitecentre. I want to run you through the primary steps to launching a brand new website in any industry. What the process is you need to go down, the most important factors to keep in mind, and the most important things to do when launching a new website. It can obviously be a very important time to sort of launch and an exciting time to launch a new site. However, there are a few steps you need to do to ensure that you don't lose traffic, you don't lose ranking positions, and that you're actually going to gain positions and things are done properly. You can use this as a generalized checklist just to ensure that your developer, or even yourself, if you're underdoing this task yourself, to ensure that you're taking the appropriate steps to make sure that your rankings stay the same or better off grow. So we've just finished this site here. This is for a plumber in Sydney, Fix Today Plumbing. They're one of the biggest and best plumbers in the area, and it's important to make sure that they're launching correctly to ensure that their positions grow. So we've been doing SEO for them for about 6 months now, and they're growing and growing and growing. However, they always struggled with their old site in its performance, in its sort of progress of how it was optimized initially and how it was built. So it was very important for us to ensure that this was built correctly from the ground up, and it's a full custom development. So from the ground up, it's perfectly optimized for SEO. Most of you should know that not all websites are built or programmed equally. Obviously, some developers will take more pride in optimizing for SEO and performance than others. Obviously, if you just push out a WordPress theme, you're not going to grab that high performance optimized sort of characteristics you'd get from a custom development. So things that are done differently can be just titles and alt tags on images, title tags on text links. There's a bunch of different tags you can add to forms. There's a bunch of different things you can do that is customized that typically don't come in themes due to their generic nature. So to start off, you want to make sure that things that are done, that we do as an agency when we build a website, we typically disable right click. I'm clicking the right button now. We disable all sorts of buttons like opening up the search console. We disable looking at the source code, so forth. There are obviously ways around it. You can still go the long old-fashioned way of opening up development tools. However, all the shortcuts on the keyboard have been disabled purely down to the fact that we don't want people accessing it. It's something that no one should really need to ever access, and why give that information out to people? People don't need to copy and paste text either. We can't highlight, and we block that using CSS and JavaScript, even though one method is typically okay. Disabling both is obviously the better option there. So when we go in and we do finally look at source code, it is all compressed. We compress this for a reason, and we compress this to make sure that people can't just copy paste. It's not easy to read, it's not understandable, and we also gain the performance of it. We're not wasting characters, we're not wasting space, and it's optimized to a point where it's all in one line. So you can see one line here. It's not. We also use CDNs. We use a base URL, which is typically not used on a generic theme. We ensure that we set our character set in both PHP and HTML. So we have a PHP header that sets it, as well as this tag here. We make sure that we have all the relevant schema markup. So the schema markup runs all the way through to here. It's the FAQ schema. We'll show you the schemas here. Web page, website, plumber, and FAQ. So plumber is the localized version of organization. So because it's a local business type, you can add the plumber tag just due to the fact that this is a plumber. There are a list of other more specific location-based or industry-based ones that we'll link in the description of this video. But making sure that all this information is filled out, their accepted payment types, their open hours, their default image, their location, sort of their target demographic, their logos, and the proper specific format that Google want, which is 60 by 600 with a 6 pixel bleed around the image. So although this will show no borders, it has a 6 pixel bleed around that. So that's actually 48 pixels high. So we also determine the geolocation of our target demographic, which is a geo circle around the business location, which is this. So these geo coordinates are of this address here, and we're happy to accept 60 kilometers around that there, and also our point of contact. So those details are very important to help identify this website. We have the website tag, which is only displayed on the home page. Both the plumber and website tags should only be shown on the home page, and a link back to those. In this, we have the publisher tag, we have the imager and the address. Under web page, that's the specific details of this web page, when it was last modified, the name, the language, the URL, and the relevant details, and then the FAQ schema, which comes in handy and is helping increase rankings left, right, and center for any site that's willing to accept it. So that's important to add. It's also got all the relevant social media sharing tags, which are coming in handy. We use a CDN, which is image kit, to optimize our images, but we use it for our CSS and JavaScript distribution as well. And obviously our Google Analytics, which is the only script you'll see up in the header, other than our phone call tracking software, which is Avancer. We have this up in the header because these two pieces of data are required to be in the header, where pretty much all of the JavaScript is required in the footer. We don't have JavaScript throughout content like you typically find in a theme, because we only load the relevant JavaScript to that specific page. We also use the HTML5 tags section, we use article, and we use menu, navigation, and header and footer. So those all come into handy. Google do understand those tags, and it does come in help them identify who they are and what sort of tags they're looking for. We also use the theme color, which can help show the relevant website's theme color or primary color in the URL box on a mobile device, which looks really cool when you do see a website with that. All our images have responsive tags, so they're all got the sort of data set. We use multiple different image sizes to show that correct image based on what image is required. We lazy load each and every image. We use a image fluid, which is a 100% width of container in Bootstrap. All images have a title and an alt tag as well. So every single image has that. When it comes to forms all have the relevant autocomplete off. We don't like that. It actually lowers conversion rates in many instances, so we disable it. We have a title and the HTML5 tag here that helps identify to screen readers what that tag is actually for. A value of 0 or a value of null because we are on the home page, but this is typically a hidden field that helps us identify which page was the converting page. We also use a hidden website field. So this hidden website field, where is it? So this hidden website field here, if it's filled out and has a value in it, it will be rejected and not sent to the user's email address, because when this is a hidden field, bots typically target this website field because they can use this to auto-generate comments and backlinks for their website. So we disable it, we hide it, and if it's filled out, it typically blocks that. So it's just an extra filter to stop out bots being able to submit data where not needed. We also have the auto tag off. So those are all really important things. We use the HTML5 validation. We also use the JavaScript validation with this to make sure that the data entered is accurate and of use to the user. And it all plays a part in building the correct site. So every single link is the full link. We don't use short links, such as services gas fitting, we use the full URL in every instance. This is more of a preference. We haven't noticed any sort of data correlating to having an impact on SEO or performance. However, we can save a little bit in total download size by removing this, but it's just text, so we like to leave it. Each image is also surrounded by the figure tag, which is a HTML5 tag. This helps with telling Google that, hey, if this image is removed, it doesn't impact the overall image. So we also use the G tag on click event to submit events back to Google Analytics to help with conversion tracking. So that's all important. All external links come with a rel, no opener, no referrer, and a target blank. This no referrer, no opener on external links is also set in a PHP header. So that's set twice. So the website's coded and programmed correctly with using sections and relevant data. We also lazy load these background images. So we would set those in an inline background tag, data background tag, and these would load as a lazy load part of vanilla lazy load script, which is a fantastic script. We also defer and async our scripts that are relevant to be done so. So scripts that aren't required to be loaded on pay or on load will be lazy loaded. So fancy box, lazy load, main, and our reCAPTCHA JavaScript through Google to help with bots in the forms. So these are all lazy loaded. They can be lazy loaded where the carousel cannot be, because it impacts how the carousel actually loads. If you remove that or defer it, the actual width is enormous and it goes off and creates issues. The Bootstrap and jQuery both need to be loaded immediately as well. So performance, this is all done. We do have an internal script, which is the our carousel. We internally load this because this is the only page that has this carousel. So there's no point in loading this in a main.javascript file or a global file, because it is only used in one instance. You would only globalize a JavaScript tag if it is across the entire site. So we keep this in mind and we only use it where it's relevant. So this would come back as an error on most testing tools. However, because of our knowledge of the programming, we know that it is in fact correctly done, and that is the correct way of doing it, even though a test would come back otherwise, just because of the knowledge of having programmed it. So we also pre-connect and DNS prefetch our URLs, so our primary URL and our CDN's URL. Because we lazy load our Facebook, which hasn't shown, but there's a Facebook snippet here. Because we lazy load that, here it is here, we don't actually want to pre-connect to that. We don't want to pre-connect to our Google Analytics because, once again, it loads as a deferred async file. There's no point in pre-connecting to something that is on a delay. If you're trying to pre-connect to that, then it is going to cause actual delays instead of causing a performance boost. We use our base URL, application names, theme colors. We don't like the Pinterest pin, which this allows Pinterest to show a little icon. If you're logged in to Pinterest, they show a little icon above images that says pin this post. We don't actually like that. It impacts the website's performance because the plugin impacts the website. So handheld friendly is true. We also have the don't stretch to fit, because we know that our websites are optimized for mobile and we shouldn't need that. We make sure that every script is optimized. We have our location tags for mobile, so for social media with our location, our geotags. Because this is a custom platform, these are all dynamically generated through the CMS that's coded for the client, as well as all the other scripts, including the schema scripts. And obviously our advanced script, which is tracking our phone call. So if I click this call or now make a phone call, it can contribute to that phone call attribution. So that's really important. So making sure that the website is responsive, reactive, clean, and professional is very important for us, and making sure that it's got the useful, relevant information to convert. So the most useful information for conversions is your star rating, having a high star rating. showing what time you're open, having your social media signals, having clear, precise social media sort of engagement, making sure that those are kept active because people do use them, having a clear, concise phone number. We have this pulsating phone number just in case someone misses the number. We try and capture the eye and drag their attention to the button. We also have hot offers, fix it today, which is the pop-up form. We have another inquiry form here, some coupons, which works really well in the plumbing industry or service-based industry. A who we are, what we do sort of introduction, our services, a letter from the owner. This comes in handy. Some of the services we do, how our process works. Some more coupons, because once again, this works really well. A gallery, which is a Lightroom gallery. Testimonials from the clients, they come in handy as well. People do actually read these. Some FAQs that are relevant to the industry and can appear in Google search. Our latest blog articles, these come in handy as well. See your blogs, our service areas. This is actually going to be pre-filled out to cities, and then you click each city and it loads the relevant suburbs within that city. However, to meet deadlines, we did push it live just all under the Sydney category. However, this will be better optimized, and the height of this would be around here. We have suppliers or businesses that we've worked with. This is very helpful because people do recognize brands here, and they see familiar brands and familiar sort of things that they've seen before, and this can help with conversions, and obviously a call to action here. So once again, our pop-up and our push to call phone number. So all of these are tracked to push to call. We have a useful footer made with love in Australia with a little pulsating button. We find that very, nice to promote the fact that this is Australian built. Our payment methods, details about the business, which helps with Google My Business listing results. Useful links, including the sitemap terms of use and privacy policy. These 3 links here are very, very, very important to have linked on the website. Without them, Google do actually disadvantage your site. We've noticed a direct correlation between having a privacy policy on the website and performance. So make sure that that's there, and that sitemap has every link on your site. So it's important to give it the maximum juice as possible so it can pass off more juice as well to those relevant pages via internal linking. We once again link to our social medias that all have the I'm going blank for some reason. The no opener, no referrer tag. So they're really important to have that. Don't no follow them because they are your personal social media accounts. No follow doesn't make sense because you do actually want that social media profile to have importance to your business, and it can actually help with linking them in the footer here. So we've only just launched it, but they're not there, but it'll actually show the social media icons for the business. So it's important to have those linked to have that within. We have the external link to the license of the plumbing license and the ABN. So having external links on pages adds value as a higher importance relevancy. So the ABN, the business government website, is a high authority domain. So linking up to it is of value. And the plumbing license register is obviously a plumbing related high relevance site to link out to that is linked on every page. This is important as well. Copyright, Fix Today Plumbing, 2010-2020. We always show this as a PHP field, so this will update year on year automatically. And obviously our coupon disclaimer, because our coupons we have multiple complaints of people trying to use multiple of those, and nice transitions between things. This is just a UI thing. We also have our icons here that show that we are a premium service. We are rapid response, family owned. These are just trust indicators that help customers identify you as a trusted source of information. They don't mean anything much more than that. The About Us page, short page that just shows the team. And it's really important to show this because one of the most viewed pages, if not the most viewed after the home page, is the Meet the Team or the About Us page. So having a great, informative Meet the Team or About Us page is really important. So we actually link that as who we are instead of about us, because who we are is more friendly than just about us. Plumbing, nice drop down menu, a little picture of the team here, and obviously we can pick any service that we want. Now we actually tag these services with the service and product schema. So this one, so warnings are fine, errors are not. So if you've got warnings, that's fine. Unidentified types, these are the social media tags, that's fine. Web page, we've got one warning. That's to say that the price range is not defined. That is okay. We don't need that for this instance. It's just a service page. It is very, very, very important to show 3 required images that Google want. It's a 16 by 9, a 4 by 3, and a 1 by 1. So you'll see through our 3 images, we dynamically do these using image kit. So you can see AR 1 by 1. So that's aspect ratio 1 by 1 and 4 by 3. So we have all 3 images in use here. So the 4 by 3, the 1 by 1, and the 16 by 9. That's very important to have all 3 of those. And if you're uploading an image to the internet, try and make sure that it is either a 16 by 9, a 1 by 1, or a 4 by 3. These are the images that Google typically like to see first. We also set a language in here, the URL, the breadcrumbs in the separated format than the actual breadcrumb schema. So Google do fall back on this, and to get the capitalized version of the schema, you do need to actually use this. We upload the latest published date and the last modified date. In this instance, it's very similar. So it was created on the 15th, modified on the 24th. We also use the primary image of page as the 16 by 9, which is the height and width here. And we also have the publisher set, which with the relevant publisher information. We also use the spoken attribution, which is Google's schema for speakable text that can be used within Google Home, Alexa, Siri, all those sort of home sort of answering, I'm going blank again, but services that you can ask a question and it will deliver a result. We're identifying to Google that this is the CSS selector for those tags. And if we actually open up the code, you would see that the selector is all the primary data within. So block drains, we have it around this. So we don't have it around all the random stuff. We have it purely around the article that matters. So that's really important. From there, we go into things like suburbs. Annandale, for example, we have links to external sources such as Wikipedia for authority and page authority, links to internal articles and other suburbs, because it is hard to link to suburb pages, especially when there's so many. We have 300 odd, so getting links to those is very hard. We created a script that dynamically sets these, so each page has a very similar link ratio depending on the weight that we assign to the page. So if the weight is higher, typically it's a higher volume, search volume, they will get more links internally. But systematically via a script, it will assign these based on that, and they will stay and remain that on those pages. That's really important and something that helps SEO for each page. We have internal links to services. We have a dynamically generated map based on the title and state in which we have identified this being. So New South Wales. We also have the postcode data for each of the suburbs, which is database driven. Because our CMS takes advantage of this local data, we're able to actually identify a place. So we take note of the geolocation, the latitude and longitude. We have the postcode, the state, and the suburb name, as well as the link to that state or suburb, which is the link we're just looking at, and an image for that. So these all come in handy with helping Google identify the actual place that we're looking at. We also have same as data. So same as is identifying, hey, this suburb, here's a reference for that. We haven't implemented that yet, but it's also coming. So we're also looking to implement FAQ schema into each suburb systematically, or program it into it so we don't have to dynamically write each one. So opposed to using a platform like WordPress where we need to create a new page for each and every suburb, which is very, very time consuming, I can populate 300 or 3,000 suburbs like that. Just a click of a button, I upload a spreadsheet. We use a couple tools to help us identify what suburbs are relevant to an area. One of the tools we use is this one here. So let's say we travel 60 kilometers around the Sydney, New South Wales area. It's now going to add a circle radius around 60 kilometers of the area I did, or I could assign a pin to it if I wanted to. It'll then output all the postcodes, or the data that we use is the distance from the location that we've set, the name or the suburb, and the postcode. So we copy this, paste it into a CSV file, import it, and then a script will go through and dynamically populate the latitude and longitude of those areas, as well as the who is or the same as data. And it can populate those pages instantaneously. And then we can program a script that can dynamically write based on the other pages to automatically write those pages fluently and be completely dynamic, useful to the user without having any duplicate content issues. So we can generate any amount of pages instantaneously with very little effort and have enormous SEO value. And all we're having to do then is regenerate the value that page has or the suburb has based on volume to regenerate the internal links tag that we have on each one of these suburbs. So enormous value that custom development has over having a platform like WordPress. So that's a value that we have. We also use shortcodes. So this is actually populated using a 15-letter shortcode, which looks like CTA both. I don't even know how many characters that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. So if I copy that, we also surround that in a p tag. So if we paste that anywhere within the HTML, it would output this before the page renders. This one is team column 3, because there's multiple versions of this. This is suburb map. So suburb map. And anywhere that tag is seen, it will output this dynamically based on the output. So we also have this properly programmed. So we have the sandbox allows scripts. It is lazy loaded using vanilla lazy load script. Scrolling no, frame border no, margin width no, data source, which is the URL, and it uses the suburb name, state, and occasionally we'll use postcode. And then we obviously have a title, which is using the postcode. We have the HTML5 tag for screen readers to what that actually is. And then obviously this is entered by the lazy load script to say that was rendered. So this is very useful to have this dynamic. We don't need to create these. These are all dynamically generated. So everything is done for us effectively. So we don't need to do anything. And because of our GeoImage API that we've created, so geoimage.app, we developed this tool that we can program any amount of images. If you log in, you can have more, to a set geolocation and geotag these images using an API and then upload them and replace this image. So all these images are geotagged to this location. So we have geo-relevant images to a location. So that's very important. all our schemas, everything is programmed to perfection to ensure that they have the best likelihood of ranking in those areas. So from breadcrumbs, the second variation of the breadcrumbs we saw in the web page structure. So here we also have the proper breadcrumb list format that Google recommend. So that's important as well. That was the home page. Blog articles. So blog articles, we use the blog posting schema, which has all the relevant blog posting schema markup required, from the main entity of page to the spoken speakable CSS selector that we've chosen, the primary image of the page. Everything is relevant to that blog article. And once again, we've got the service page. We use the product tag because the product tag is the only way to generate the aggregate rating right now, the star rating system. So we've actually added that so we can help generate those star rating systems within the organic search. So having those things in place is really important. Making sure that the website's programmed accurately can help you generate really useful pieces of information. We also dynamically program our titles and descriptions. So fix today, so business name is the plumber, which is industry. Suburb name, phone number, and the postcode and information. We also have a useful sort of bracketed call to action there that helps increase the CTA, or sorry, the CTR of the page. So the click-through rate of this page is higher due to the fact that it has the brackets there too, and relevant information like the postcode. So these are programmed in. If we do, there are some old URLs in here like this one. This one links in the bottom left corner there to a URL with a / at the end, would actually redirect to the final URL, which we'll show in a second. It's very important to do that. So everything's programmed there. The performance of the site is fantastic. So fully loaded is 7 seconds, which seems bad. However, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here. That number is irrelevant. What matters is log into an account. It's free here, and look at the fully contentful paint loading time. So it's 0.8 seconds. This does in lower peak times get to about 400 milliseconds. It's really important to make sure you're focusing on this time and not this time. The reason this is set to that is because a few scripts. One is the Google Analytics, one is the phone tracking software, and then the Facebook script kicks in. So these all have significant load impact. So you can see Facebook loads many scripts that are irrelevant to what we're trying to serve. So they're lazy loaded or deferred and don't impact. So this green line here is the contentful paint. You can see here, if you look at the bottom of this box that's just popped up, contentful paint is at 400 or 640 milliseconds, which is correct. And then after that point, people can now engage with the website, and then Facebook starts to trigger those scripts that don't really matter. And these images are in the footer, which aren't rendered yet, so they can lazy load and aren't really loading anything other than the title and knowledge that they're there. So they're not actually loading. They don't matter right now. Only things that matter are these informations here, which is Google Analytics. We try and load as early as possible, and fonts, things that impact the actual display of the website. So that's what matters. So the performance is amazing. We've optimized everything that could possibly be done. These images here are mostly from Facebook, so that's important to know as well. Google Page Speed Insights unfortunately doesn't consider the scripts or waterfall version, so a lot of these suggestions are around the fact that we have Facebook enabled, and that's the disadvantage there. But you can see on desktop version, 600 millisecond load time and first meaningful paint being the exact same, so it's very quick rendering. And most of these things are due to Avancer, which is the phone tracking, Facebook, Google Analytics, and Facebook. So we don't actually have control of any of this information. The DOM size, we understand, this is the home page. It has a lot of information on it. Unfortunately, that's what we want. So that's fine to be at this size. All other pages are fine. And then this is not a problem at all. This is the main thread work, which once again, we're using a large page. That's fine. So performance is amazing. Another tool will suggest the exact same thing. Perfect performance. Load times are awesome. So that's great to see as well. All scoring perfect A's, and this static content B's are, I haven't looked at it, but I'd say Facebook and Google related. Yep, and events are related, so nothing we can do there. So as long as we're perfection on our end, that's what matters. These scripts do their own thing, and sometimes they actually need to be like that. So that's fine. It's not impacted to the user. Yellow labs sort of shows we're getting a great score as well. Because we're using Bootstrap, we have bad scores on CSS because of our massive amounts of important elements and old prefixes, which Bootstrap uses. That's unfortunate. We do have a few fonts. That's fine. That's something that we had opted to use for the style. We use a font for icons. We use a custom font here. This is a custom font, and we use the curly font right here. So there's a few fonts there that all add up. And then the compatibility versions of those fonts as well. Making sure that your color count is low. Once again, Bootstrap use, who knows why, they use hundreds of colors. We've limited some of them. We were only using about 4, but Bootstrap add the rest of them. So there's not much we can do here to improve this score unless we were to optimize Bootstrap, which we don't intend to do. And making sure that the first byte in your local location is as low as possible. So you can see 0000 and finding Sydney, where our target demographic is 0. So our latency is next to nothing. So that's perfect. That's our demographic. If you're over 1 for this or 0.1 for this in your target demographic, look at changing server locations or implementing a better CDN. So that's not all that is needed for launching a new website. You really want to make sure that you've gone and downloaded every single page. We download using SiteSucker. We download every single URL. So we enter the URL of the old site. We'll download every page. So we have a copy, a localized copy of each and every page. We'll also make a localized database backup and file backup. But this is basically the view in which the user would see. So that's important, where the PHP files would need an environment to be set up to be able to view the files. So having both copies is really important. So we can go back and reference what was once there and have a localized version of that. In doing that, you want to then save a localized version of the sitemap that was in place, because you want to copy each and every URL and then replace it with the new URL variation. So what was here was suburbs and a / at the end. Some had the word plumber dash, and some had plumbing dash, and some had plumbers dash, because the old SEO agency decided that was a great idea. That was inconsistent throughout URLs, so we created a new URL structure where it is just suburbs and the suburb name. This is the best format. Short URLs perform best, and the word plumber doesn't need to be in there because Google knows that we're a plumbing business already. So we've dynamically generated the fact that we want plumber in Annandale, so Annandale being the suburb name. This is not part of the title at all. So having a sitemap of your old URLs and making sure that they're linking to your new URLs is of massive importance. So even their blogs were having blog / that was their primary blog page, and then they were having things like this with an ending /. The reason you don't want an ending / is because you're indicating you're in a folder directory. A / in a URL is a new folder directory. Because this is a final URL, you don't want to signify that this is a folder directory. You just want the shorthand. So that's really important. Making sure that every page has a URL that is unique and conforms to the style in which you want. This was contact us /. They also have some projects that they've done which are linked here. This was location - projects /, and all these were under that location - we've now redirected those to projects. So if you were to land on those old location projects URLs, it will redirect to the, I'm not sure what the exact URL was. They'll redirect to the old variation, or the new variation, sorry. Same with these services. Some of these were linking to like Sydney at the end because they're trying to, some SEO agency tried to think that that was a great idea again. Not this one, but they were doing that. So this service link, didn't matter, and they were doing things like this, which now links to the correct version. So making sure that all your old URLs link to the new versions is so important. Then making sure that each image that was on the old site now links to the new image's final destination is also very important. A very important stage in doing that is making sure that you have all image, clicking on the images, making sure that all these indexed images are linking to something that matters. So making sure you click on each one, creating a list of each of these images and making sure that they're linking and redirecting to the new source. We have a platform and our CMS allows us to upload these in bulk, which is massive for us and can save us a lot of time. If you don't know how to do that, you can do it through cPanel or you can do it through PHP file. There's a bunch of different applications depending on the platform that you're moving to. But as well as that, looking at your backlink report, we use Ahrefs. You can also use Search Console, but making sure that each one of these that has a backlink pointing to it now links to the new URL. So these obviously are linking to Emergency Plumbing Sydney. That's obviously not what we want. So we have redirected it to, where did it go? I know for a fact that I did set that up. I know what's happened. Cloudflare has cached the page and it's not allowing it to redirect. So I'll purge that cache. A couple refreshes. There it is. So the purge of the cache has fixed it and it is redirected. So that's possibly what happened to those other ones as well. So purging cache in CDNs is obviously important. But all these should now link to their final destination, even though that these are all old links. So services water filters should link to the new water filters services page. So we wanted services, not service, and we didn't want that trailing URL. Location projects now links to projects. Every single link, including the images, links to their new final destination because they have links. Just because we didn't find them in another search doesn't mean they don't exist. These plumbers, Dulwich Hills, obviously we don't want that. So now it's just suburbs, Dulwich Hills. Very, very important to make sure that every single one, none are missed, especially ones with links pointing to them. You want every single image, every single link to be pointing to a new destination, even if you don't intend on replacing that page. So if we decided not to replace a page, which we did, they had a link for promos or something somewhere. Promos, we don't intend on that being a page, so it now links to the homepage. That's fine because we don't intend on replacing that, but it has links pointing to it. So let's make sure that it's linking to somewhere of relevance. The next step is making sure that you come into Google Search Console, come into the sitemaps, add your new sitemap. So this is our new sitemap. And then we make sure that each of our sitemaps have each and every page with the last modified date range, the parent category having an index of 9 or 7, and the homepage having an index of 1, and then sub-indexes having, so under services, being one underneath the primary. So services being a 0.9, services final directory being a 0.8 with the local measurement of last modified date. We do have a change frequency of monthly on these, and typically we'll have a weekly monitor on the parent categories. About us page, terms and conditions, these can all be delayed. So we make sure that each and every page is in here, including our projects, locations, blogs, suburbs, everything. So making sure that that's perfect. All the tags are up here. Make sure you use the HTTPS variation of these and not the HTTP version, making sure that your new site's obviously secured. Now these old sitemaps from WordPress can now be deleted, so clicking that, clicking here, and removing that sitemap. That sitemap no longer relates to us or this business, so making sure that we click remove and they are no longer indexed within the search engine. Making sure that we're not detecting any new, over the coming days, any new unexpected structured data, which we did. So we noticed a few, and those relate to a couple different things. Those relate to the fact that we had no brackets around the same as attribute, and those have since been fixed, and those will get removed. Products, we now have some products, but they have warnings because we don't have a SKU for a service. We don't have a global identifier for a service. We don't have an off account for a service. We have started the fix for the image because we did add that. Logos, FAQ schemas, breadcrumbs, they're all perfect. And because we've now added breadcrumbs to all pages, not just some, it will now kick in. And then we've added FAQs to a few more pages now than they were. So everything's starting to tick along. You can see that they were starting to get really great results anyway. And it's our job to obviously make sure that now that they've launched their new site, that they're going to get even better results. They actually gained 900 positions on day one of launching their new site. And 3 days in, they've now gained about 1,100 positions overall. None of those were really top 3 or top 4 movers. A lot of those are like page 2 to page 1, but now it's obviously a process of moving those from the top of or the bottom of first page to the top of first page. But we still have a lot of their old URLs within the search engine. This is now where we would come in and go, okay, we're 3 days in. We're noticing that this is our new URL of title structure. This is our old one. So we can then copy this URL, run a search within Google Search Console for all these old pages. It'll identify that there's a 301 redirect. We can click submit. Google will then verify that it's done, and within a couple minutes, all this data will redirect to its new data. So if we look it up, there'll be 2 results for it. So add more URL. So there's only 1 for this one, but there should be 2 for most of them because they've identified both, but they haven't identified the fact that there's a redirect on that other one. So we'll test the live version. It'll understand that there's a redirect. It's important to do this process immediately from launching a new website and after testing. For your homepage, sitemap, privacy policy, and the primary pages such as the homepage, locations, who are contact us pages. Most of the inner pages, if you've got hundreds of pages, don't need to be done. Google will identify them as sub-pages to the parent pages and automatically go ahead and process those. So it now identifies this as a redirected page. Let's first confirm it's a redirected. Yep. Request indexing. So very shortly this page will be removed and the updated URL will be then submitted. So you want to do this for all your primary pages after launch. Once that's done, you do want to just monitor over the next couple of days, sure that you're not losing rankings, that you're gaining rankings. If you've done the site properly, it's coded correctly, there's title tags, alt tags, proper URL structure, 301 redirects are in place, the performance is at peak, you will gain positions. We guarantee position increases on all of our new website builds because we know that if done properly and we do properly, it will have those performance improvements. So we also do everything from mobile to desktop. Obviously, Google ranks now based on the mobile experience, not the desktop experience. So ensuring that we have a optimized mobile experience is very important. So we have this little bar here that's a click the call follow button, and every 20 seconds it will pulsate out and pulsate back in. So other than the little moving icon, every 20 seconds it will move out and back in just to draw the eye into that call button. We'd much prefer someone to make a phone call than reach out to us, so you can see the animation there, than to click on the Facebook chat. But the Facebook chat is a 60 pixel high by 60 pixel wide. This is 60 pixel high by 110 pixels wide. We also go 25 pixels from the bottom, which is the exact same as the Facebook button. So mathematically, these are perfectly aligned and they look nice together as well. We just decided to make this fully left aligned and a non-circle to give it more prominence than the button here. We've also A/B tested this on other sites. We find that the phone on the left has a better conversion rate than the phone on the right, and the default location for the Facebook is also on the right. We decided to turn the auto message off because it overlaps the phone button and it's also an inconvenience for most users, so we turn that off. We also hide the discounts on mobile because it takes up too much of the above the fold content, so we hide it in here. The inquire now still brings up the inquiry form, and our menu is still engaging whilst always showing this phone number in the menu. It doesn't follow, that's a choice that we've made, but everything otherwise is responsive and engaging. So that's important to make sure that those call to actions are following. We also make a few adjustments on the home page from where these need to refresh, it's cached. So a few of these images have been resized, and we're loading the correct sized image there, so we're not loading full size images. This image is now a little circle. So things have changed. Things are a little bit different on the mobile than they are on the desktop. These images are now square opposed to the rectangled version on the desktop, just to give more prominence. The suburbs are obviously in place, and then the footer all center aligned. So that all works well. The mobile is perfect. The performance on the mobile is perfect. Everything looks great. Properly programmed, alt tags, titles, everything's in place. That is very important to make sure that your developer is aware of the SEO current standards, and to note that not all websites are developed equally, and downloading a theme off Theme Forest or Monster Themes won't give you the SEO advantage that you may or may not think. It is very important to custom build, and it's not exactly out of your price range. This website was done at 1/3 of what other developers were quoting by us, because we know and have the platform available to us to push out hundreds of pages instantaneously with no real effort involved, where most developers would have to create each individual page individually, and that's very, very, very time consuming. We have shortened that time with our CMS and our shortcode system to enable us to do this at a much quicker time frame than most other industries. So making sure that every single step we've just covered there is done before you launch your new website is so important. You will gain positions if it's all done correctly and systemized correctly, and you're informing Google of those changes. You could also go ahead and inform Bing, which would obviously in turn inform Yahoo of those changes. That's all important as well. And in doing that, you'll notice a great increase in your rankings and conversion rates as well. I would cover things like making sure that your conversion funnels are still in place, your event trackers are still in place if you've got conversion tracking, such as when this button is clicked and filled out, then log a conversion. These buttons obviously log an event, which we can then contribute to a conversion. Things like that are very important to make sure that are on your new site if they were on your old site. If they weren't on your old site, still very important to make sure that they're on your new site, because tracking and reporting is everything. It's hard to optimize if you haven't done that. And a final tip before we log off, consider installing something like MassFlow. MassFlow is user tracking that allows you to record screen sessions of your users and work out where they may or may not be going wrong. So you can actually go to their demo. We're now recording. I can click around this page. I can highlight some text. I'll click this, click that. I can then enter my name, Brody. It's amazing. and then I can see the screen recording that has happened. So this would be done without the user knowing. Obviously, this is a demo, so we, making it very obvious, but the user wouldn't know that this is happening. Come on, mouse, that's not cool. Anyway, with a properly recorded screen, you would then see people fill out this information, engage with your website, and see a visualized heat map very similar to what you saw here in the picture of where people are clicking most, what people are engaging with most. And if people are clicking rapidly on a spot and nothing's happening, it may be because they think that it's a button, but it's not actually a button. Something like this, if I see someone clicking on this rapidly, obviously they're thinking that it's a button. I need to then now make that into something that is obviously less like a button, or make it do something that the user would expect it to be done. So tracking that information can help you make improvements on your website without your sort of feedback. So you think it's perfect, the user may be, and multiple users may be engaging with it differently, and you can now identify that. You can also identify the fact that people have filled out the form but never submitted it, and find out what their details were because the recording was happening. Very useful tool. We're not paid. This isn't a paid ad or promotion for them. We just use their tool actively. $30 a month. This is more than enough for most localized businesses, and growing is obviously something that has value. There is a free service, but unfortunately 100 sessions isn't enough to gain much value from. You need more than 100 sessions to gain a quality heat map and to gain proper insights into how users are engaging with the site. So consider spending the $30 over 3 months. Like do 3 months worth of $30. Spend the $100 and gain that unmatched value that you can now make, and improving the conversion rate of your new website. So that's it for this video. If you have liked what you've seen in the video, please consider subscribing. It makes enormous value for us because we can then show you more relevant videos. We can then send out notifications for when videos have launched. Please leave a comment if you have any questions or notes or anything that we might have missed during the video. I'll respond to each and every one of you. And smack a like on the video too. It helps the Google algorithm identify that this was a useful video. All that being said, if you do need help with the website, you do need help with code, send us an email, give us a phone call, put a comment in the comments below. I'll respond to each and every one. I'll answer phone calls. We're not a company that charges just for anything. We are always happy to help out with free information. So if you have launched through another business, a different developer, that doesn't matter. We'll always help out in making sure that each and every person has an equal advantage by making sure that their website's done properly and they're getting the results that they expect to be done, whether through us or not. So that's something that we carry with us and makes us a little bit different from each and every other business. We don't just care about the money. We are genuinely there to help you generate results. So once again, please subscribe. We'll post more videos like this showing you more advanced strategies and more advanced things that we've done with custom coding opposed to the generic stuff. Thanks for watching.